everybody, Gannon here, back at it again with another Star Trek Discovery review. Today we are going to be reviewing the second to last episode of Star Trek Discovery Season 3, with episode 12 titled, There Is a Tide. Now, if you remember, in the last episode we found out the cause of the burn, which, fun fact, they don't touch up on at all in this entire episode. Like, they literally just pulled a 100-year-old Kelpian through a tantrum, then dipped. They find the cause of the burn in the form of Su'Kal, the abandoned Kelpian in the dilithium planet in that certain nebula, and they're forced to leave Saru, Culber, and Adira behind because Michael and Booker couldn't have gone back for them because plot. And I was really surprised to find out that the overwhelming consensus for the last episode was that people really didn't like it. And I think most people agree, and even I can agree, that the whole burn plot this season was done kind of horribly. Like, they're gonna create this burn plot point and then hype it up at every twist and turn, and then just make it a Kelpian who throws tantrum. Like, there was that one scene where Michael was literally like, I don't think the Federation will ever gonna be able to find peace unless we find out the cause of the burn. And honestly, just the way they're treating it now, especially in this episode where they don't even, like, mention it or anything, it almost seems like we could have slept at night just fine not knowing what caused the burn. I don't usually watch reviews for Star Trek, and I don't usually watch any Star Trek YouTube content in general, but I watched a Ketwalski review for the episode out of curiosity, and dude's pretty objective in everything, and he's kind of, you know, nice guy Star Trek reviewer, but he was absolutely ripping it for having really bad writing. And when I reviewed the episode, I was having a pretty good day, and I have to tell you that I kind of enjoyed the episode just from, like, a Star Trek standpoint. I was having a pretty good day, and my expectations were not too high, and I enjoyed the whole interaction with Su'Kal as he was a person who lived in a holographically generated reality and had been living in it for decades, and I thought that was kind of reminiscent of an episodic Trek episode. And even though the burn reveal was super lackluster and just lame, I thought it was an alright episode. But then people were going into how Michael and Saru's character behavior in the last episode just totally made their whole character subplots, with Saru becoming a competent captain and Michael kind of being 31st century crazy Michael Burnham, totally irrelevant. It made it seem like they were building up to just nothing. And that kind of got me thinking about how the whole season as a whole, like, this season has just not been a great one. It might definitely be Discovery's weakest season so far, but after watching this latest episode, it's kind of set the tone for what we should expect, like, coming into the final episode. Previous seasons where we've dealt with intergalactic war and the destruction of all life in the galaxy, but really this is just kind of a transition for Discovery's true home in the 32nd century, I think. Where we're at now, it's becoming ever so clear to me that the future seasons of Discovery will take place in the 32nd century, and that leads me to believe basically that this season was the transitional period into that, and that the whole burn plot point wasn't supposed to be super serious or anything super juicer. I mean, the antagonist of the season is a leader of a criminal organization. It's not like they're dealing with a super crazy extermination AI or the freaking Klingon Empire. Now, that's not me cutting Discovery too much slack. The burn plot point, even if it wasn't supposed to be something amazing, it was still kind of like trash. It was kind of bad. I mean, just kind of look at the competition for what we have right now in science fiction. The Mandalorian is universally loved by fucking everybody. The Mandalorian success is the reason why Disney is just producing all these other fan service shows, because Disney has now realized, after creating that horrible trilogy, and guys, I don't want to get in any arguments about, like, this fucking last Star Wars trilogy. I think that there are so many redeeming qualities about Star Trek Discovery and just, like, new Trek in general. But, dude, the new Star Wars films were bad, okay? And I think Star Wars realized, when they actually brought in people who are passionate about creating good Star Wars, like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, and they allow them to make those fan service, like, live actions, and people actually fucking adore it. Like, dude, people actually love The Mandalorian. I had so much more fun watching Mandalorian Season 2 than fucking Star Trek Discovery Season 3, and I gotta tell you that I like Star Trek more than Star Wars now. And it's just like, dude, we could be doing so much better than this. Y'all could have made the burn so much better than it was. You didn't have to make it amazing, but you just didn't have to make it that embarrassingly bad and mundane. Like, dude, The Mandalorian Season 2 It's fucking killer. It was amazing. I'm not going to spoil anything, but did you guys see how Star Wars Theory cried at the ending scene? Guys, we gotta be doing better for Star Trek. They did a better job at referencing older mediums of Star Trek this season, but dear God, was the fucking writing weak in the actual content of the show just a little bit lacking. And this latest episode also did make me realize about how little I care about Booker as a character. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Anyways, enough of that little rant. Let's get into this review. This episode was good. It's like they totally ignored everything that fucking happened last episode, and the only thing that they chose to reference really was the fact that Saru, Adira, and Culber are still in the nebula. They don't give a shit about the burn, or the cause of the burn, or Su'Kal, or any of that. Surprisingly, their entire focus this episode was getting to Federation headquarters as fast as they could to protect it from Osira, who's there to also, surprisingly, meet with Admiral Vance to negotiate peace and to bring the Emerald Chain and the Federation together, and to create more spore drives and to allow people in the Star Trek universe to travel again. And I was really shocked to see that Osira, even though she's a bit of a twisted and nefarious character, it seems like she was actually coming with a genuine offer. Aside from the fact that she's probably going to force some of her influence into this whole shenanigans that she's pulling, she was actually coming there with a pretty good deal for the Federation, and she was actually coming with reforms. Like, she told Admiral Vance that she invested money to actually convince the Orions to stop the slave trade, which is a huge deal, because that's all Orions have been known for, is like the Orion slave trade. And not to mention, like, dude, the Orion slave trade is still going on now in the 32nd century. It's been going on for fucking ages. It's actually a big deal that she was actually able to, like, get into talks that they were going to stop the Orion slave trade. She was actually coming there with a pretty good deal for the Federation. The only thing is that she's low-key a war criminal and just, like, a criminal in general. So Admiral Vance was like, oh yeah, you low-key gotta be charged for your crimes in order for this to work. And Osira got super pissed and left Federation HQ, but not before Michael ejected a really, really, really dramatic Stamets in this cool energy bubble field, which was kind of the correct thing to do, because without Stamets, Osira cannot develop more Spore Hub technology. So this isn't one of those episodes where I want to go into like an actual analysis and a whole summary of everything that happened to the episode, because I just would rather much talk about the content. I'm just hoping that you've seen the episode and you know what has happened in the episode. Some really cool things that happened that I want to talk about. We're introduced to this cool scientist character that talks with Stamets, and he's played by Kenneth Mitchell, which is rad. If you don't know who that is, he played Cole in the first season of Discovery. This scientist character is somebody who is respected and appreciated by Osira and is perhaps maybe her lover. Not completely sure. I'm just kind of excited to see what kind of dynamic he has now that he's starting to see Osira for what she truly is. There was that crazy moment for Michael Burnham when she went full Black Ops mode and choked that dude out with her legs in the hallway, and I was kind of dying laughing at it, but was also super impressed by how metal that altercation was, with her choking him out while simultaneously getting stabbed in the leg. I mean, that was kind of pretty awesome. We get to see the bridge crew actually fight back and escape from Osira's lackeys, which was awesome, seeing Bryce and Tilly and them actually participate in some action and kind of actually be relevant. Admiral Vance's negotiation with Osira was amazing. Just a brilliant performance. Vance is actually kind of a goated character in the season, and when he made a remark about replicated food being made out of their shit, I was super amused by that, of course. They brought back the evil dude from the second episode, so I guess that's kind of a decent callback. At the end of the episode, when the Spore data was put into the Dot robots, and they were like, yes, Captain, we're here to take the ship back, I thought that may have just been the corniest thing in the history of anything ever. Like, the Spore data could have helped them get the ship back, but did they really need to be made is like sentient in the form of a couple worker robots? I thought that was a big fat L for the episode. Honestly, that was just a little bit kind of Disney of them. Booker is not a character that has any substance for me. I actually think he needs to be killed off in the future or something. He's way too nice and boring and perfect, and his backstory being from Quajon was done horribly, and it's basically non-existent. He's just kind of a yes man that kisses Michael from time to time and has a goofy looking face and flies around in a dumb transforming ship, and that's my final opinion. I feel like Cleveland Booker was one of the worst things that they attempted to do this season. He's supposed to be this important cast member, and he's just so boring and lackluster and really disappointing. We really only have one episode left, and there is no mention of the burn in this episode, or any of that, really. So I'm wondering how they're going to wrap this all up and make it coherent and actually give us some form of conclusion in the last episode. I'm so curious to see how they're actually going to do it. Like, I really am. I give this latest episode a 7. As much as I'm kind of picking at it, because it deserves to be picked at, it was good. It was entertaining. It was not bad at all. I feel like, you know, the fact that they didn't mention the burn or anything like that from the last episode was just a little bit ridiculous. It's something that was hyped up literally from day one as the biggest plot point in the season, but, you know, what can you do? A little bit of a sporadic review, I know, but I just wanted to talk about some key points. Gotta say that this Discovery season isn't terrible, but it's definitely not the best, and as always, I'm intrigued and excited to see what they do in the final episode, but I'm safely keeping my expectations low, so maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching another Star Trek Discovery review. If you enjoyed the video, please slap a like on it. If you have anything you want to share with me, please leave in the comments below. And if you like the content you're seeing on the channel, I'd be very flattered if you were to subscribe. Please leave down in the comments what you guys think is going to happen in the next episode. How do you guys feel about this season so far? Are you disappointed? Do you think it's alright? Do you like the season? What do you think they could have done better? And, like, what were the worst things that they did this season? What was the stuff that really grinded your gears and really just made you think, like, why the fuck did they do that? Leave that down in the comments below. With all that being said, guys, I'm gonna have to see you the next and final episode, the season finale of Star Trek Discovery Season 3. It has been a fun ride doing the 23 weeks of Trek we have made. A video for all the episodes. We reviewed everyone, and it's just been so fun. Actually, it's been really fun just seeing how the Star Trek community on this channel has been growing. I am very surprised to see that my Star Trek content is, like, doing the best. I'm super happy about it because I love Star Trek, and I love talking to people about Star Trek. So, with all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna have to see you in the next one. Live long and prosper.